Hi there. Let's talk about how you can avoid debt. We all know debt or borrowing or leverage is a thing which has really made a good number of people out there not be financially free. So let's talk about the basic of tips which you can use to avoid debt. The very first tip which you can use is you budgeting. Basically, you planning each and every of your money that you are getting or you are making. Budgeting is a very simple tip, and yet a lot of people out there overlook budgeting. A good chunk of people out there, for example, are working, they are earning an income, they are getting a salary, but they are living paycheck to paycheck. Reason being, they do not budget. And it is unfortunate because even a good chunk of earners out there are actually living paycheck to paycheck. And with just a little planning, they can even survive on less than 20% of their salary monthly. Instead, they are exhausting all that they are making and instead living paycheck to paycheck. A budget is a basic financial tool which can assist you plan your incomes and most importantly, how you are going to spend your money. And through that, you can be able to at least shove aside something small for saving, something small for investing, you name it. But it all begins with planning your money through having a budget. Because if you don't have a budget, chances are you're going to end up spending your money frivolously. Okay? And then the second tip, which is very key to you avoiding debts, is you managing your appetites. Yes, managing appetites go a long way. It is human nature for our appetites to be insatiable. Basically mean we cannot be able to satisfy our appetites conclusively. That's why even, for example, you can have a meal now. In the next 3 hours, in the next 4 hours, you'd want to eat again, okay? The same thing goes, for example, for clothes. You can buy a cloth which you think, for example, is a designer cloth, something you like now. And then a few days later, you'd want to buy maybe a follow-up fashion item or even a different item. That's so because our appetites are not satisfiable completely. They are insatiable. Knowing that can really assist you manage your appetites. And that's so because each person out there who's able to build wealth, each person out there who's been able to become rich, they have done so because they most importantly kept their appetites under check. Look at it this way. If in a day you have $50 disposable or flexible money, a good chunk of people out there might choose to dine and wine at the most expensive or decent of places, okay? And then exhaust the entire $50. Another person might choose, for example, to only survive on $10 in a day when it comes to their food. And then the $40, they decide to invest or use it for another purpose. Guys, over 10 years, the person who saves $40 in a day will able to have upwards of $100,000 in form of investments. It's as simple as that. Basically because they did manage their appetites. Managing appetites ensures we are able to spend only the amount of money which is necessary and utilize the rest in other alternative and important things. And talking about alternative and important things, the third thing which you need for you to be able to avoid debts is having savings. What do I mean? Once you start budgeting your money, you're going to realize that one of the most important things is setting aside some of your money for savings. Basically, you having a kitty which you are putting money aside towards a given purpose, or even so, setting money aside for those kind of, like, for example, emergencies or other unforeseen events, so that you'd be able to tap into your money instead of going out there to borrow, and then you end up borrowing money at unfavorable rates, or even so, borrowing money from unscrupulous sources. That's why saving is very important. And by the way, you can start small. There isn't somebody out there putting a gun on your head saying you have to save X amount of money monthly. No, you can start saving whichever amount of money, and then you see how you increase the threshold over time. You can say, for example, you are starting with 5% of your salary. Then see what else you can squeeze, and in no time, you might even end up saving upwards of 50% of your salary. By the way, if you are saving money, what percentage of your income do you save? Comment down below in the comment section. Share with this community. What percentage of money do you save of your income? Is it working for you? Do you think you need to increase the percentage you are saving? Or even so, do you think saving is important in the first place? And then, the fourth way you can go about avoiding debts is you investing. Basically, thinking about how you can make the money that you have work for you. As I've mentioned, a good chunk of people out there live paycheck to paycheck, basically because they do not plan their money. And if you don't plan your money, you're going to end up having a hard time. And one way of planning your money is by you investing. Basically, putting your money in those kind of activities that are going to ensure that your money works for you over time. For example, if you are in Kenya, you are earning a net income of 500,000 Kenya shillings. That's just an example. I believe in about 2 years, you should already have had rental properties, okay? Whether it is in the outskirts of the city or even in your rural area, you should be able to buy a decent piece of land and even construct rental properties. And be sure these rental properties are going to be able to give you rental income for even upwards of 20-30 years. Basically because you decided to put down money on real estate. Alternatively, you can even start a business, okay? Think about it. All of us are talented. All of us have things we can do. All of us have things which we are passionate about. Put money down on those things. They can be your side hustles, which even over time, they'll be able to even become your full-time hustle. And these are things which give you an extra income through profits. Or even, in case you don't want to sweat, you don't want to hustle, you don't want to do mjengo, you could check to even put your money in the stock market. Put your money in the stock market and you'll be able to get dividends. Put your money in bonds, put your money in treasury bills, and you're going to be able to earn an interest, which basically is the cost of that person paying money, companies paying money, government paying money for them to be able to access your resources. And guys, through that, you will be able to make an extra income. And by that, in case of anything, be sure you can be able to tap into your investments and even so have money for what you desire to do, as opposed to you using debts to finance whatever thing. And of course, as always, when it comes to investment, I'm a proponent of you holding your investment for the long time. Basically, looking to capitalize on compounding for you to be able to make an investment increase exponentially, right? And then guys, the last tip I have for you, which is very basic but also important when it comes to you avoiding debts, is basically you prioritizing yourself and what is important to you. I've seen a scenario out there where some people have actually delved deep into debts. They have gotten into miserable living because they are carrying the weight of tens of other adults out there. Guys, the most important thing to you is you yourself and those who are close to you that matter. I know we come from a society where black tax is a reality, but also manage how you support black tax. Because, for example, in case you are using all your salary to maybe take care of your extended family and you forget yourself, you forget your core family, you'll end up being in pain because you'll end up borrowing, even borrowing from very unscrupulous sources to cater for your basic of needs. And yet, you just thinking about what is very important to you will really have saved you from all that. Basically, prioritize you, yourself, and your immediate family. And if you can, of course, also support extended family where called upon, but even so, within the realm of your planning. Don't be the savior of your extended family and then you're going to end up really suffering big time. Guys, what do you think about these tips? Have you been in a debt which really spin you big time and fortunately you are able to escape that debt? Or even so, what do you do to avoid debt? Share additional tips down below. Let's continue discussing. Cheers guys, and you all stay safe.